a lot of new strategies, which is really cool.
And if there's ever a tournament that is ripe to shake things up, it's always the one post-release right before the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
So who knows? Michael Lehman, you might have already picked out the Pro Tour winning deck list that nobody else has been playing.
Yeah.
Corey Dissinger, you might just be on the hot tech of Sydney.
It's got to be so cool to show up to an Open the weekend before the Pro Tour and just be playing the Pro Tour winning deck list. Because then you just get such sick bragging rights. You're like, yeah, I didn't keep for the Pro Tour, but I know what's up.
Or just something that greatly skews what happens at the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I know when I won the Open in Syracuse right before the following Pro Tour, I believe it was either Dragons of Tarkir or Magic Origins with Green-Red Dragons. Like the deck going into that weekend was Jeskai, and it was everywhere. And I just mopped the floor with all the Jeskai decks. And because Green-Red Dragons caught on so hot, so powerful right before that Pro Tour, the Esper Dragons deck just mopped the floor with anybody that was playing the Green-Red, and we just saw a whole bunch of Esper Dragons deck do very well that weekend. All right, so here we have Esper Starfield against Sultai Control. Ali's going to lead off with a Sylvan Advocate. Let's see what Michael has for turn 2. It's just going to be a Silk Wrap. It's going to take care of that Advocate, pass the turn back to Ali Aintrazi.
So what you really want against this Esper Starfield deck is a few counter spells. And generally speaking, we really do not see that many counter spells in the format. We'll see Spell Queller. We'll see these Spirits decks play a few. But Ali has a Silumgar's Command. It doesn't look like he has any others. He does have some in the sideboard, but that's really what you want to fight these like non-creature combo decks like Esper Starfield and Simic Crush.
Now, I don't know if I'm 100% correct, but I remember hearing yesterday that one of Ali's losses, one of his 2 losses, was to that Crush deck. So it could just be that he's faced Simic Crush and Esper Starfield in the same tournament. He does have a Painful Truce on turn 3 to lose 3 life and draw 3 cards. That's always a great rate. Michael's just going to keep developing his mana base, and at some point we might see some very powerful enchantments enter the battlefield here. Here's a Liliana, the last hope for Ali. And Negate is going to counter that. So
I think main deck Negate. It's been a long time since. Oh wait, no, this is postboard.
We are in game 2.
LOL.
Right,
Negate is sweet though. Just a great card.
All right. So we've got a Shambling Vent from Michael.
So it's got to be really frustrating for Ali to build a control deck, tune it to beat what you expect to face, and then just face these decks that are completely out of left field, like Esper Starfield.
All right, well, here is another Liliana, and ultimating this Liliana is going to be a very good way for Ali to try and win this game. But an Anguished Unmaking is going to take care of it. Michael's going to fall to 17, get rid of Ali's Liliana.
And this is one of the pitfalls that you can run into with a control deck is it's really hard to build a control deck that is good against unknown decks. You know, given the nature of having to pick and choose reactive cards, you have to choose reactive cards that are good against what you expect. And if you play against something that you didn't expect, you're going to be in a rough spot.
Right, well, Michael's just going to play another land and pass the turn back to Ali. Ali does have a Nissa Vastwood Seer. That's going to go find a forest.
And Ali set this up pretty well. He can flip the Nissa this turn, and it looks like he's got Negate backup. So it looks like Nissa was something that he valued quite a bit, and I don't blame him. The Liliana can generate a fair bit of value by finding more threats, but I think what Ali wants in this matchup is more spells, and the Nissa constantly ticking up is going to be a bit more valuable in that situation.
And so that Nissa is going to flip from the Evolving Wilds, and Ali is just going to make an Ashaya the Awoken World. Use his Evolving Wilds and pass the turn back to Michael.
So the one thing that's nice about this is if he didn't do that, his Nissa might be able to get attacked by those Shambling Vents. So the main reason that Ali's doing this may be just so that he can protect his Nissa.
Right. Well, Michael is going to play an Oath of Jace. That's going to allow him to draw 3 cards and then have to discard a card.
And this ties in quite well with the fact that the deck does play some number of planeswalkers. So you can actually start scrying to find your Starfield of Nyx or some other answer in a given situation.
All right. Looks like Michael's going to discard a couple
Ooh,
land.
and we get the Oath of Liliana.
And he's
Very
going to
cool.
play Oath of Liliana. So Ollie's not going to use his negate.
And Oath of Liliana is great. Again, with the Planeswalkers, this is going to make it so that he can actually get some bodies on the board that can actually do some attacking.
All right, so Ollie's going to plus the Nissa on his turn, find a copy of Liliana, the Last Hope. Looks like Michael just chose to not play a land. Or maybe he just doesn't have one in his hand. Painful Truths is going to draw 3 cards for Allie. There we go. Correct the mana after announcing it. All right, Ollie is going to fall down to 11.
And Ali, he can draw a lot of cards, and this is certainly going to help. The big question, though, is he going to draw the right cards? Like, I'm not 100% sure what a Sylvan Advocate is going to do long term.
All right, so Ollie is actually at 14. He's going to play a land in the Sylvan Advocate and pass the turn back to Michael. It was a Hissing Quagmire he added to his board.
Wow, and what's great about this is so Michael's going to play an Ob Nixilis. He's going to be able to kill the Sylvan Advocate, but then the Oath of Liliana can actually make a 2/2 zombie that can potentially play defense against the opposing Hissing Quagmire.
All right, so Ollie is going to use a negate on the Ob Nixilis. Michael has a negate back to stop it. He will minus his Ob Nixilis and kill the Sylvan Advocate. And then on his end step, he's going to get a 2/2 zombie.
Very, very sweet play. So often the problem with a card like Ob Nixilis is if you cast it, it kills something, but then your opponent can easily attack it and kill it. It ends up just being a 5-mana removal spell that gained you a little bit of life. And while that can be decent, it may not be particularly great. With Oath of Liliana, though, this Ob Nixilis is going to be a little bit more insulated.
All right, so Ollie is going to go to his turn, pick up a copy of Jace, Rinse Prodigy for his draw step. He does have a handful of cards. Michael's only down to 2 cards. We haven't seen any sweet Starfield of Nyx action just yet.
And Ollie can fire up 2 Hissing Quagmires and attack the Ob Nixilis, but that would mean that this Ob Nixilis would have traded with a Sylvan Advocate and a Hissing Quagmire and 8 of Ollie's mana.
It's not a bad trade.
Yeah, actually 10 if you include the mana from the Sylvan Advocate, which is a pretty big deal.
So Ollie is going to play an Evolving Wilds and go find a swamp. A Liliana, or a Nissa Plus is going to find Oath of Jace. Didn't think that I would be seeing Oath of Jace mirror match, but here we are.
And if Ollie... Okay, so it looks like Ollie's just deciding he's not going to be able to kill this Ob Nixilis unless he draws a Ruinous Path.
And so Oath of Jace is going to enter the battlefield, draw Ollie 3 cards until discard a forest and a swamp. Looks like he's just going to cast a Jace Rinse Prodigy.
And Ollie's got a nice set of
Liliana.
Planeswalkers. Liliana can help protect them from that zombie token. Nissa can keep drawing cards, and Jace is going to be able to do some powerful stuff as well. We'll see what Michael can do to potentially disrupt Ollie's board.
All right, so Liliana is going to plus on the zombie token and make it an 0/1. Michael's upkeep, he does get to scry 1 because he currently has a Planeswalker on the battlefield with that Oath of Jace. Ollie is going to get to scry 3 on his turn if he transforms that Jace in his upkeep with the trigger on the stack.
Probably one of the best things that Michael could get is a Sorin. Sorin would be able to attack these Planeswalkers, give him another zombie, and give him more scries.
All right, so Michael is going to scry to the bottom. He's going to plus Ob Nixilis and pick up an extra card. Let's see if he can find some action.
The other thing that Michael can do is he's got 2 Shambling Vents. So could he actually fire up both Shambling Vents and attack, have them both attack one of the Planeswalkers? And if Ollie wants to save his Planeswalker, he'll have to sacrifice his Jace.
All right, so it looks like we've got both Shambling Vents are being fired up. Let's see where he sends them. All right, he's going to send them both at Liliana.
And what's nice about this is if he kills the Liliana, that means that his zombie token will still be a 2/2 and potentially trade with one of those hissing quagmires if Ali tries to attack his Ob Nixilis.
So it looks like Ali is not going to block. He's going to let the Liliana die. Michael is going to gain 4 life and go up to 20 and just pass the turn back to Ali. So Ali will have a Oath of Jace trigger on the stack in his upkeep. He's going to loot with Jace, Rinse Prodigy. He's going to draw a card, discard a card, and then it will transform into Jace Telepath Unbound.
And I like this move from Ali, deciding to keep his Jace rather than his Liliana. The +1 on each of them is quite similar, but the minus on Jace flashing back spells I think is a lot more relevant than the Liliana minus getting back creatures.
Well, there is a Dragon Lord Silumgar, it looks like.
Oh, hello.
And a Ob Nixilis reignited right for the taking. It also looks like there's a Summary Dismissal underneath that, so that is a nice counterspell.
An expensive counterspell, but it is a nice counterspell. If you need to win a war, that's a good way to do it.
So Ali is going to stack them so that he draws the Summary Dismissal and then gets the Silumgar from the Nissa so he can hide the Summary Dismissal from Michael knowing that it's there. And now we just get to Silumgar. He could take the Ob Nixilis and then minus it to kill the zombie if he wants to, which is what he's going to do.
Yeah, and this is nice. This, it can always be tempting to try to take the Ob Nixilis and start drawing cards with it, but then if your opponent has an answer for the Dragon Lord Silumgar, you're back in a problematic scenario. This is probably the cleanest thing that Ali can do to just make sure that nothing goes wrong. He's kind of ahead, so he just wants to make sure that Michael's methods of catching back up are cut off.
He also has a 4th land, which turns on that Summary Dismissal. Alright, and Michael's going to fire up this Shambling Vent. He has a Languish in hand, so he's going to try and entice a block here to try and languish away the Dragon Lord Silumgar. That's what's going to happen. Michael's going to attack one of the Planeswalkers. Ali will block with Dragon Lord Silumgar. Michael's going to go ahead and fire off a Languish here. And let's see if Ali saves it with the Summary Dismissal. He does not. He's going to allow Michael to 2-for-1 himself and just continue to work these Planeswalkers that he has on the battlefield.
Yeah, and I like, again, Ali's decision-making there. His Planeswalkers are the most important thing because they're his source of card advantage. It's extremely unlikely that Ali's actually going to attack Michael to death with that Dragon Lord Silumgar, even though it is possible. So I think as a resource, it's just not that valuable, and Ali would much rather save his counterspell for something that really matters.
Right, so it looks like he's going to scry in his upkeep and keep an Oath of Jace. He's going to play it, draw 3 cards, discard a couple of lands. He's going to plus his Jace, plus his Liliana, find another Jace, Rinse Prodigy, cast a 4/5 Sylvan Advocate, and just pass the turn back again. Still holding up counterspell mana for that Summary Dismissal.
And both of these players are playing rather quickly because they know that they're probably going to have to play Game 3. There's not a whole lot of time left on this clock.
All right, so here we have a Lunar Force from Michael Lehman. I'm going to pass the turn back to Ali. He does get to scry 2 in his upkeep. Man, Oath of Jace with these Planeswalkers is extremely powerful.
Yeah, it really is.
He's going to keep them on top, rearrange the order. He's going to plus Nissa and find a Traverse the Ulvenwald. That might, if he's able to force it through this Lunar Force, well, he's going to. Jace is going to trigger it and it be countered. Now we might see a Traverse into an Emrakul here.
Well, that would be cool. I wonder if he can actually cast it right now. It looks like he has 8 mana.
Yeah, so he only needs... Oh, Negate's going to stop the Traverse.
So it looks like because they're short on time, Ali's trying to rush through things a little bit and went to search his library a little too quickly. So even when you want to play fast, you still got to see if your opponent has a response to what you're doing.
So it looks like he's just going to let the Negate resolve and then flash back the Traverse with Jace. And he might still have enough mana to play the Emrakul. Yeah, getting a draw here is going to be basically the same as a loss for both of these players.
Yeah, and Ali likely has this game won in basically the next 2 turns no matter what, because the Nissa is going to be able to ultimate. And, you know, there's not a whole lot that Michael's going to be able to do about that. He may have access to another Anguish Unmaking or a Ruinous Path or potentially a Sorin, but he doesn't have much time to do that.
Oh, it looks like he does have enough mana to also play the Emrakul. Right, so he's going to control Michael's next turn. Michael draws a Duress.
I was probably checking to see if the Duress is a you know, can target yourself, or if it's a May.
Unfortunately, he can't, and because it's a reveal and not a search, you're not able to fail to find.
Yeah.
So he does Duress Ollie. He will take a Languish. Shambling Vent is going to fire up and attack Ollie and die to the Emrakul. Going to gain Michael some life. Now let's see what Michael can draw on his turn of reprieve after that Emrakul has resolved. Well, here's an Oath of Jace. He's going to draw 3 and discard 2. Oh, there's a Sorin.
It would have been nice if Sorin came sooner. That Nissa has drawn 5 cards.
Yeah, it's been
pretty
real
nice.
All right, Ollie's going to get to scry. Summary Dismissal on top, 1 on bottom, draw a card. Maybe.
And I think Ollie can actually just kill him, because those Lumbering Falls and his and Quagmires are going to be huge from the Sylvan Advocate.
So it looks like he's going to fire up 1 Quagmire. We're going to have an attack for 4.
So I think this is only 21 damage.
21.
I'm a little surprised he's not firing up another Lumbering Falls.
Well, he wants to be able to have Summary Dismissal mana available.
Yeah.
Going to draw Jace. Plus the Jace to pass the turn back. Michael will have 1 turn here. I've got a land and a Sorin. Ollie's going to counter it. And Michael's going to scoop him up, and we're going to go on to game 3. And let's see if somebody can win.
Yeah, pretty exciting. So a lot of times it's, you know, I said it's very difficult to beat an unknown deck when you're playing a control deck. In that sort of situation, though, we saw that Ollie's card quality and just having these robust planeswalkers really paved the way for him. Even though he wasn't really set up to interact with everything that Michael was doing, Ollie still had some powerful proactive elements of his own to get you know, card advantage and develop a board presence.
So now let's take a look at the player sideboard to see if we can figure out what all they brought in. So we have 3 Negate, 1 Epiphany of the Drowned Yard, 2 Linval the Preserver, 1 Silk Wrap, 1 Infinite Obliteration, 1 Transgress the Mind, a Deadweight, a Quarantine Field, 2 Wasteland Strangler, and 2 Duress from Michael Lehman. What all do we think he brought in?
So I like all of the counter spells, and I like the Duress. They basically hit all the good stuff out of Ollie's deck. The Transgress the Mind can potentially hit Emrakul, and he could consider bringing in Infinite Obliteration as a way to get rid of Emrakul. Seems a little tricky for Michael to actually deal with Emrakul, so that might be his best option.
Now on Ollie's side, we have 2 Summary Dismissal, 2 Negate, a Kalitas, an Aerial Volley, 2 Deadweight, 2 Painful Truce, a Silumgar, a Murder, a Liliana, a Ruinous Path, and an Ishkana. How do we think he sideboarded?
So on Ollie's side, I like the counter spells and Summary Dismissal and Negate. I like the Painful Truce just to draw more cards. Dragon's Lord Silumgar is great against opposing planeswalkers. Ruinous Path also great against opposing planeswalkers. He could bring in his Liliana if he just wants another planeswalker. Liliana seems a little weak in the matchup compared to his other planeswalkers, so I could see him just leaving it out.
All right, so looks like our players are getting ready to present, but while they finish up checking their opening hand, let's learn a little bit more about Mr. Ollie Aintrazi. He's 29 from Matthews, North Carolina. He has 12 open top 8s with 2 wins, 2 invitational top 8s with an invitational win, where he bested me in the finals. Congratulations, Ollie. He is a self-proclaimed best mixtape creator, a professional teddy bear namer, and the 2011 U.S. National Champion for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Ollie's played for a long time. He's a great player. Always does well. Also, he's one of these people that always does well with kind of a unique deck.
All right, so both players are going to be playing lightning fast here to see if we can actually close this game up before either player gets a draw. Lands on each side, but Ollie does have a Sylvan Advocate on his second turn. And Michael Lehman is going to Transgress the Mind. So it looks like we have 2 Evolving Wilds, 2 Sunken Hollow, a Traverse, a Negate, and a Liliana. Liliana is the only legal target, so that's what's going to be taken.
And there's a good chance that Ali's just going to play with those cards face up, which I really like doing when you're trying to save time.
All right, so Ali is going to attack for 2, use his Evolving Wilds, pass the turn back to Michael. He's going to get a Swamp. That will give him his second basic and turn on both of those hollows. Michael has a Silk Wrap, which is going to take care of the Sylvan Advocate.
And Ali just wants to win this game quick, so
he's going to negate.
Firing off his spells is just what he's going to do.
Ali will play his land. He's going to attack for 2 with the Sylvan Advocate, cast Hedron Archive, and pass the turn.
Standard open, competitors. Standard open.
Oh, there's a Starfield in Michael's hand, but he does not have a 5th land.
Standard open, round 11, and it's time.
He does have a Ruinous Path, which will take care of the Sylvan Advocate and pass the turn back to Ali.
So if Ali can draw a powerful spell here, it'd be great for him. Otherwise, he's just going to have a lot of mana.
All right, well, here's the Liliana. He is going to plus it instead of getting back that Sylvan Advocate.
Legacy players, your parents.
Duress is going to be countered by Summary Dismissal. So now Ali has instant creature and land in his graveyard, so he will be able to get rid of that Hedron Archive, draw some cards, and turn on Delirium if he wants to. He's going to minus Liliana. That will put land and Planeswalker in his graveyard, so he will have Delirium now. Ooh, you know what? He loses it when he gets the creature back.
At least he has pressure on the board, and on the following turn, he can actually attack for 8. If Michael, for some reason, doesn't do anything, Ali actually has him on a 2-turn clock between the Sylvan Advocate and the Hissing Quagmire. That will be a 4/4.
Michael did find a 5th land, and here is an Ob Nixilis Reignited. So that is going to minus and kill the Sylvan Advocate.
So there is a silver lining here. This means that Traverse the Ulvenwald is turned on, and Ali can cast the Traverse and activate his Hissing Quagmire to kill this Ob Nixilis. So while this wasn't the best turn of the events, he's going to be okay, basically. He might even have enough mana to activate his Hedron Archive.
All right, so he is going to traverse for 7. He's going to find an Ishkana. He's going to traverse with 7 mana available, and he's going to find an Ishkana.
So that means that he's probably not looking to kill the Ob Nixilis this turn. And is looking to just take care of it later.
So he's going to play Ishkana. It's going to bring with it some spider babies, 3/1/2 reaches. Come on, Ali, you know we got real spiders.
I almost would have liked to have seen Ali just get a Sylvan Advocate there, because he would have been able to cast the Sylvan Advocate and kill the Ob Nixilis on that turn.
Once again, standard challenge players, your pairings are posted in the black gathering points.
Looks like he only has 1 green source in addition to the Quagmire. So
that's a deciding
he wouldn't be
factor.
able to fire up the Quagmire. Yep. All right, Starfield is going to come down. Michael will draw a card with that Ob Nixilis. Let's see what Ali decides to do here.
And now what Michael wants to do is draw some legendary enchantments. Or enchantments that just have to be countered. That would also work too.
Well, he does have that Silk Wrap, so he's going to be able to get that back next turn.
Yeah, all that's going to be able to target those, one of the 1/2 tokens, which is valuable, but not that great. You could get a Sylvan Advocate, though, which would be nice.
Ali was able to get a Sylvan Advocate off of that Liliana minus. Looks like he's going to cast it.
And it'll be interesting to see how many turns it takes Ali to close this game out. He's got a pretty good board position. He's kind of firing on all cylinders, and Michael really hasn't done a whole lot. He's got this Starfield, but...
All right, well, Ali's going to play an Oath of Jace, draw 3 cards. He's going to discard, looks like another Oath of Jace and Evolving Wilds. His attack is going to knock Michael down to 12 and is going to kill the Ob Nixilis. On Michael's upkeep, he's going to get back a Silk Wrap with that Starfield of Nyx. He's going to exile the Sylvan Advocate on Ali's side. And now he has 7 mana available, so let's see what he can put together. Oh,
yeah, he's got a Quarantine Field, which is definitely a nice play to help catch back up. Another thing that would also be nice is just a Planar Outburst. This Quarantine Field is certainly not coming a moment too soon, because that Ishkana can actually start dealing some serious damage with her activated ability.
All right, well, Quarantine Field, 6 mana is going to be X equals 2. Looks like we're going to target Ishkana and Jace Rinse Prodigy.
And I like this. The Liliana really isn't worth that much, but the Ishkana can deal a lot of damage, and Jace being able to flash back, you know, the spells is quite powerful.
All right, Ollie's going to scry to the bottom. Let's see what he has going on here. And he's going to attack for 3. He's going to knock Michael down to 9. We're going to get a face-down Den Protector. And Evolving Wilds, Liliana is going to plus.
And this is going to be pretty tough for Michael to find a way to win. Not only does he need to stabilize the board, but then he needs to actually develop some sort of a clock. I think Ali's going to be in the best opportunity to actually close this game out, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. He's almost there.
All right, so Michael does not have any more enchantments in his graveyard to rebuy with that Starfield.
Yeah, Michael would love to have something like multiple legendary permanents of the same type, whether they're Oath of Jace or Oath of Liliana, just so that every single turn he can recast one of those.
All right, well, looks like Michael is going to try for a Sorin. Ollie will use Den Protector to rebuy the negate and cast it.
And this is great. This means that Ali can actually attack Michael down to 1 this turn. And it's very unlikely Michael's going to be able to keep himself alive past that point.
All right, well, Ollie's going to scry to the bottom. Let's see if we fire up that Quagmire.
Actually, if there's a Sylvan Advocate in the graveyard, Ali can just kill him this turn. He sees a Sylvan Advocate. He can actually play the Sylvan Advocate, fire up a Hissing Quagmire, attack with the team, and that'll be for 10 damage.
Yeah, so he's going to get back a Sylvan Advocate with the Jace minus, fire up a Quagmire, and that is going to be a lethal attack from Aintrazi. And I didn't think that it was going to be possible, but he is able to close this game playing blazingly fast in about 6 minutes.
Yeah, that was very impressive on Ali's part.